Thank you so much for being here. It's just a pleasure to see this room filled up. And this has been a very special room for me. I've done several performances here over the years. My name is Madeline McNeill, for those of you I haven't met. I just want to say thank you to Lucia, who's back there with the phone. She created this wonderful piece here. Laboratory Spokane. Lucia is a resident, and Laboratory Spokane is an artist residency here in town that takes artists from all over the world to create interactive art with a tech focus. So we get a lot of wonderful artists coming through Spokane. And then also to my collaborators here, Liz Rognes, Olivia Brownlee, and Rachel Fairbanks. I just learned your last name. Sorry. So I'm going to begin. So this is a play that I wrote, and there is singing in it, and there is also some ideas in this play. And one of the ideas is something that I would like to tell you about, partly by asking you to participate a little bit, just ahead of time. And so, what I'd like you to do is bring attention to your breath. This is a play that brings the body into focus. What I want you to do is let your belly, your low belly, expand when you inhale. And the abdominals will pooch out. So when we breathe, all the way down to the pelvis, the muscles expand. And why do they do that? Well, we have this diaphragm. It's this parachute-shaped muscle underneath the lungs. It's attached to the lungs. It flattens on the inhale. The diaphragm goes from front to back. So when the diaphragm flattens down, the lungs expand down, creates a vacuum in the lungs, and air moves into the body to fill the vacuum. And then we have guts underneath this diaphragm. So when the diaphragm goes down, the guts and all this stuff goes down, and that's why the belly goes out, the back goes out, and then we have this pelvic floor that's right about here. It goes down a little bit. So breath is a head to pelvis activity, and that's going to play into some of these ideas that we're going to be talking about tonight. All right, there's a little bit more that I'm going to do with you. I would like you to bring attention. I'm going to lead you through a little sequence of things. I want you to bring attention to the soft palate, which is a dome-shaped muscle behind the top molars. And what I'd like you to do is create a yawn by lifting the soft palate up as if you're lifting it up and out through the ears, and breathe deeply. Now what you're doing, I always take a risk asking an audience to yawn at the beginning of a show. But this is the best way to explain this. So what happened was you stretched inwardly from your head to your pelvis. The pelvic floor went out, the abdominals went out, the diaphragm went down. So that's what we did with the yawn. And when you did that, you did this wonderful at the end, which is great. So that was a full yawn. If this was a full yawn, like that, what I want you to do now is what I call a half yawn. And a half yawn is still from head to pelvis. Everything is moving, but it's not so grand. It's just about halfway. The mouth opens a little bit, diaphragm descends, abdominals go out, and then what I'd like you to do is vocalize sigh at the end of it. So it's going to sound like this. So I'd like you to do that together with me. Ready, and go. It's the most beautiful sound. It's so lovely. All right, and so now what I'd like you to do, would you mind playing an E? So there's going to be 2 times in the play that I would like you to start with a half yawn and then vocalize on an ah 3 times. So it's going to sound like this with the half yawn preparation. Oh. And then we'll do that 2 more times. We'll just do that all together. Half yawn, head to pelvis. Half yawn breath again. And one right. Wonderful. We're going to begin.
Top climate scientists have warned the world we have 12 years to reduce carbon emissions before temperature exceeds a 2 degree Celsius increase. A change which would endanger hundreds of millions of people with drought, floods, and extreme heat. The report by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released on Monday say urgent changes are necessary to prevent catastrophic climate events. The target to keep temperatures between 1.5 degrees Celsius and 2 degrees Celsius will require worldwide cooperation. However, politics are lagging behind the issue. Though the United States is the world's biggest source of emissions, the U.S. president has promised to withdraw from the Paris Agreement.
Creativity at its peak. Deep thought, clear to speak, I feel the awe of possibility. And warrior words to set edge to our adversaries, the climate is changing. What's the matter? You're sullen and gloomy.
Sleepy.
Sullen.
Your menstrual cycle. What week are you in?
4.
Your hormones are low.
I know. I ache and feel the weight of pessimism for humanity's sad state heading toward total destruction.
Your words don't lie, though strongly on one side.
The storm of the world is colored by our inner weather. That's why we have each other, to weather it together. Week 3.
You're a cat out of heat, curled on a soft seat to sleep. I'm at my peak. Let's begin.
Children grow.
complacency haunts humanity. And now the world dies.
Yes, we're almost past the point, conditioned out of growl or howling when we threaten to disturb society.
It must be shaken, this society, modeled on a factory, engineered for complicity. A culture of consumption keeps it running.
What should we do?
Something new? Why not create a spirituality of being a body? Giving spiritual attention to feral flesh.
But spirituality, the word is loaded with assumptions of self-division.
Spiritus means breath. Core muscles, pelvis to head, contract and stretch. Breathe for a felt inner movement. Birth spirituality from a core reality. Body and spiritus, voice and breath, and yes, let's awe together.
So much change must be made.
The rage must rise like a wave, ocean swelling in rhythm, a hymn of ideas.
Whom shall we rage to?
Just move for now. Showing how to exercise emotion, we need agility. The ability to move emotion freely, then we'll have the tools to engage.
Emotional tools, yes, but words? Specificity? Without analysis and vision, we strengthen division. We need effective responses for the fronts that face us.
Analyze each ideology.
It's your specialty. Break it down.
And if I do, where will you be?
Fallout. With ideological change, psyches shift.
Like a storm of the heart, inner weather, we must also care.
Yes, care. And create. And grieve. Moan. Moan. Sigh. Sigh.
Spirituality of being a body takes discipline, cultivating self within limits of flesh and accepting mortality.
But that's not our culture. Currently, humans race to achieve infinity, reaching for a grand divinity, status, fame, money, while failing to care for human needs.
Infinity is not reality. We exist in cosmos, seemingly infinite, but live and die within our limits.
But modern culture rejects this with games, conditioning of fantasy. Humans are numbers inwardly, reinforced by a system of money, justified by a spirituality. Parts of body are believed to have infinite qualities, limitless abilities. People believe themselves as potentials to infinity.
Desiring a life that extends beyond death.
Working tirelessly to earn entry. The game is hope. Like winning the lottery or achieving celebrity. Believing it's possible to become living gods with infinite reach and power, determining self-worth by assigning self numbers. I have this much money, status, accomplishments, friends, collect, accumulate, to marry an outer reality to an inner fantasy. Imagining parts of the self, emotions, mind, consciousness, spirit, as limitless, strengthening to infinity. Infinite emotions make money. Infinite mind wills accomplishment. Infinite consciousness accumulates bliss. Infinite spirit, limitless inner conceptualizations of an infinite self, complement a frenzy to accumulate. We happily participate, imagining when we die, the body will be left behind, and the infinite self, strengthened by a life of accumulation, will continue to be alive.
How do we stop this spirituality?
Redefine emotions, consciousness, spirit, mind as sensory movements, fragile and finite. Focusing on inner realities, we redefine work.
It's more than redefining. It's an entirely different way of living. A culture's mythology structures society.
So myths to live forever with limitless power permeate culture. Nature is vast, but not infinite. People need new culture to learn life has limits.
But people are addicted to the infinite.
Belief in the infinite creates awe. It's an addiction to a thought. We need new ways to experience an awe of life. Awe. Core muscles, pelvis to head, move and stretch into poses of yes. The ah stretches the breath. From awe, I cultivate ability to move with agility. In awe of being a body, humans accept their mortality.
It's a hard shift. Even as climate changes and there is grief, many still hold the belief they will not die.
Why? Denial?
It's the first stage of grief, where many will stay. For others, grief of climate builds on existential pain. All life ends in death.
But continues on, with children, story, and song. Humans, being thinking animals, require rituals to understand how the process is cyclical. A body myth can be formed, affirming with breath the reality of death. Crouch courageous before death's birth, ecstasy to earth. A ritual of ache and sound, blood the ground, and call to the sky, all bodies die.
A ritual of ache and sound, blood the ground, and call to the sky, all bodies die. Stars of night, of splendor, sensual air giving strength to speak of humanity's need to release to the next generation.
I have a question. What do we do about technology? It overwhelms society. People trying to fill themselves with information to a spiritual destination, to achieve mental infinity, and then download themselves into a machine.
Transhumanism. A modern spirituality building from technology to rapture and escape the body.
What effects do you see?
Self as machine. The fantasy is here. Thought without depth of flesh feeling, dystopic detachment. Thinking muscles not as sensory, rather as machinery. Machines have become a mirror where humans gaze with unfeeling limbs pushed to break. Now computers in the wake, staring back at us as we relate to our new reflection. The problem is, many people think they are brains instead of body beings.
The brain is not a container, rather a place that coordinates senses to move together. Sensory bodies, sensory flesh need to move, contract, and rest. We are bodies with needs, warmth and cool, care, exercise, nature, companion, rest, breath, emotions, to assess the inner life of flesh, flesh, flesh.
We feel flesh sensation. Continue dancing respiration.
The nature of things is life and death. We die in entirety for child's breath.
But what about existential connection? Humans still need to feel part of the universe. We can't deny humanity's need to feel the vastness we inhabit.
The problem is the experience of vastness is mistaken for a perception of infinity. We observe through senses the vast nature of the universe, of human beings and nature. I visualize cells and atoms. The experience moves me into an inner pose of awe, inner stretch of core muscles, head to pelvis. Responding to vastness. Is to move into a core posture of yes. For a swell of inner movement, while relaxing deeply in humility, in humility. That I am a body.
How do we train a spirituality of being a body?
Arts, analysis, health. Performing arts provide disciplined practice to understand the sensory self.
The performing arts are currently marginalized to make money or pursue as a hobby.
That can change. Arts can be made to train a feeling intellect, structuring thought brought out from within, moans and sighs, laughs, cries, emotional speech with refined technique to speak the body's needs.
It's so hard. The performer shares a story of emotions, and the audience is awed. From their emotional experience, they begin to assess her inner value as a number. Oh, you are worth this much fame, money, status. She becomes, in their mind, a collection of units, because we conceptualize inner worth as a number that can accumulate to infinity. And in that moment, she is no longer human, rather a commodity for speculation. They no longer think of her inner reality, flesh, needs and movement, rest and health. And so the arts become a bad relationship. From this exchange, artist is not agile, and audience learns nothing.
I see the struggle. Change is in conceptualization. The wisdom of the arts is to sculpt human experience from the inside, to communicate human nature, and plan for a collective future.
Change is more than conceptualization. It's warrior rejection, challenging current institutions. Artists are bottlenecked in competition. This game again, to achieve a jackpot of infinity, fame and fortune, oh, glorified celebrity. Similar to mythologies to advance from a mortal life to immortality. With gates guarded by judges and sentries, the industry of entertainment is the same. It's a game. Every artist trying to prove to win a judge's affirming move. Judges of artists assume authority, playing God over society, posturing fame, wealth, omnipotency. In the process, the spirituality of the art is lost. And mentors cease teaching an art of living.
Warrior rejection, yes. Religions help shape this myth. A dream of ascending from mortality to celebrity and eternity is our mythology. The solution is to humanize celebrity and challenge all that claims infinity. Emotions, mind, consciousness, spirit, body processes believed to be infinite, influencing people to disregard their limits. And now, climate change. Nature's response to humans exceeding limits. Climate change is about finding limits.
Body intelligence balances power within a rhythmed relationship, with an inner environment. Moan subtleties, a soft, soulful experience, dancing with growls and howls that rage and storm to protect flesh, form interspersed with play, to relax tension away, to courageously move with death. Ritual sighs and cries that all bodies die. Children go on living, the process dramatic, can be ecstatic, giving in to death. Emotions are body exercises, visceral movements, shaping self to live rigorously, exuberantly, creating culture for bodies.
Performing arts provide disciplined training sensations felt within. And from sensations come visualizations, vocalizations. Don't think of singing as a gift or commodity for consumption. Singing is movement, a rich dance of inner emotional movement, shaping tones. Did you know the vocal cords don't create sound? They vibrate, buzz, modifying air into ripples, ripples that resonate spaces in the ears and head, vibrating chest and skull bones. My body is a bell. Air enters my body, moved by core muscles, chest, diaphragm, belly, back, pelvic floor, expand out and down on the inhale, feeling stretch and contraction, head to pelvis. Exhale slowly, maintaining tautness of expansion, inner flesh events, creating reflex contractions to color the tones, moans and sighs, quick and slow pulses, air leaving body, gone. Inhale again. Continue the core dance. We sing together, coordinating inner movements that shape sounds. We sculpt together, feel together, deep core, head to pelvis, inspiring a shared vision of life together. As a society, we behave based on justifications. Truths we agree upon, explaining why we live this way. And climate change is challenging them all.
Climate changing because of a way of living justified by cultural truths. What are these truths?
Part of self is limitless, infinite. Against climate change, they all fall apart. We are not infinite. We are not limitless.
Climate change is about limits, as individuals, as bodies, as a species.
To correct perspective, we create a strong emotional relationship with the finite sensory nature of ourselves. For a new spiritual truth, explaining how emotions, mind, consciousness, spiritus are finite processes. Sensory experience is rooted in flesh events, felt flesh sensations rising, passing away in a dance of life until death. A new generation dancing next. What happens when we don't waste our time worrying about living after we die? What happens when we don't think about why it's possible and how I will get there? What happens when I don't fantasize about self after death? I think about others who will live after me. That's how climate change will change. When our truths justify behavior to continue life. Thank you all so much for coming.